What's up, you guys? This is Zay Brooks, and this is episode 30 of a show that I do not know the title to yet. Today, what I want to talk about is freedom versus security. And to start us off, I normally don't read from books directly, but I have the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Chopra, and it really has to do with what I want to talk about today. So, the search for security is an illusion. In ancient wisdom traditions, the solution to this whole dilemma lies in the wisdom of insecurity or the wisdom of uncertainty. This means that the search for security and certainty is actually an attachment to the known. And what's the known? The known is our past. The known is nothing other than the prison of past conditioning. There's no evolution in that, absolutely none at all. And when there is no evolution, there is stagnation, entropy, disorder, and decay. Uncertainty, on the other hand, is fertile ground for pure creativity and freedom. Uncertainty means stepping into the unknown in every moment of our existence. The unknown is the field of all possibilities, ever fresh, ever new, always open to the creation of new manifestations. Without uncertainty in the unknown, life is just a stale repetition of outworn memories. You become the victim of your past, and your tormentor today is yourself left over from yesterday. Relinquish your attachment to the known, step into the unknown, and you will step into the field of all possibilities. In your willingness to step into the unknown, you will have the wisdom of uncertainty factored in. This means that in every moment of your life, you will have excitement, adventure, mystery. You will experience the fun of life, magic, celebration, exhilaration, the exaltation of your own spirit. Every day you can look for the excitement. Every day you can look for the excitement of what may occur in the field of all possibilities. When you experience uncertainty, you are on the right path, so don't give up. You don't need to have a complete and rigid idea of what you'll be doing next week or next year, because if you have a very clear idea of what's going to happen and you get rigidly attached, then you shut out a whole range of infinite possibilities. And so that's basically what I wanted to talk about today. Is it dawned on me that a lot of people in life feel as though they need a sense of security to move forward, or even just have a sense of sanity. Feeling like we have no idea what's going to happen is a very difficult concept to deal with and keeps us up at night, and I feel as though it stops us from living our best life, or more importantly, our purpose. That if we feel the reason why we were brought on this planet, what makes us the most happy, if that doesn't bring a sense of security, mainly financially, then that's not something we will begin to explore, because we would much rather participate in something that we don't want to do but brings security. And so in that excerpt, it talks about how wanting security is just conditioning to what you've experienced in the past. So it's almost like you're laying the track of, I don't want to say mediocrity, but laying the path of mundane, monotonous, security-filled life. I think it's really important to do our best in life to be okay with the unknown. It's funny, like when you play like games or read books or watch movies, it's always the best and the most fun when we don't know what's going to happen. But if we take something like our life or our journey, it's a much more serious thing, which I understand, right? It's who we want to be, it's where we want to go. But we take it so serious to the point where there's almost anxiety surrounding it, where we choose to have security instead of freedom. And back to the point I'm making about the book, so I'm saying about laying down the track. In our life, if we started out by saying, well, we're going to live this life, right? Especially when we were young, we had an idea, I want to be an astronaut or an NBA player, NFL player, right? And those things pass, society tells us what we're going to be. So then we're like, okay, well, I guess I have to be this. So then you lay down that track. And so you're thinking, okay, well, I'm on my way to this, or my life isn't as crazy or grandiose as I once thought it was. So this must be like something I'm settling for, but it brings security. So I'm going to lay down that foundation. And then my past conditioning from that will make me realize that this is how life is supposed to live. And then the tracks keep being laid. You get that job that you wanted that gives you security. You give that, you get the security house, the security job, the security wife, all these things that you feel as though give you a sense of security so you can sleep at night. I know I'm repeating the word security a lot, but these are things that you're willing to lay down the tracks for constantly through your whole life. And next thing you know, you're 60 years old. And yes, life was full of security and you had fun, but it's like, I don't know if you can maximize your purpose. Or in this book, it talks about your dharma, where what you were put on this planet for, you traded that in for laying down these tracks of security. And so thinking what's going to happen, I think in my anecdotal experience, is a blessing and a curse. And it kind of depends on what you want. I think it's a blessing because you know what's going to happen, so you can use discernment, and it becomes very easy and monotonous to kind of get through your life or your journey or your career, whatever it is that you want. But it's also a curse because you know exactly what's going to happen. I think a good analogy is when you're an employee, you make a certain exact amount of money no matter how hard it is that you work. You could be whatever, let's say you're on salary, right? And I guess maybe you do have on target earnings, right? Or commission, and that certain amount of money you can make. Sure, that's sales jobs. Not a lot of jobs are sales. Most jobs, no matter how hard you work, you make a finite amount of money. But as an entrepreneur, on the other hand, or a business owner, there is no limit to the amount of money that you can make. It's just more about scaling your business. So that's the analogy I'd like to make when we talk about security versus freedom is, yes, you do know exactly what it is that you're going to get every 2 weeks or a month, and it allows you to pay the bills and, live life as you see fit with the money coming in. But I don't know if there's adventure or the chase of your dreams and your aspirations or your dharma, as this book talks about. So, past conditioning can unfortunately set your future. And it's hard because you're thinking, well, if my life was like this in my teenage years or as an adult, then that means that this is going to happen here because this is what I saw before. And it's like a cycle of almost your past conditioning affecting your present thought process, which influences the manifestation of the future. And so it's hard to see that, but I think a lot of things come from uncertainty and not knowing what's going to happen because, like this book says, the infinite possibilities that become possible, the pure potentiality of what can take place, limitless. And, maybe some people choose to live life a certain way where they want to have that sense of security and that's where they feel comfortable, but I don't know. It's not like I'm knocking anybody for feeling that way. But I don't know if you get that true sense of adventure or fun or dharma or purpose. So then we want to almost live through that by like watching TV or movies, And I'll say for myself, in my anecdotal experience, as an entrepreneur, it is really exciting to wake up and not know what's going to happen. Like, I guess I have some idea of what the companies that I work for or the things that I want to do, but my full autonomous availability, if Mr. Beast was like, yo, I need you on the show, boom, I got you. If a reality TV show, we want you to do Big Brother or whatever it is, Traders. I know a lot of people like Traders. I'm there for that. So really, the opportunity of what can take place in my life, that's something that I enjoy. And, it takes time to break away from, I guess, the matrix, you want to call it, to be able to put yourself in that availability mind space, head space. And it's a lot difficult if you have a wife and you have kids, and I understand that. I'm not trying to say that anybody can do this, right? There's different circumstances for different things, but I don't know. It's just something in my mind really wanted to talk about the security versus freedom. That, when you have security, you kind of are giving up some freedoms to make sure that the money comes in on the 1st and the 15th. So I'm curious. This is something that I give thought-provoking concepts, things to resonate with in your own life. I wonder where you stand. Do you feel as though you want to have the set amount of money and things that come in, but not too much is going to change in your life, which is what most people do? Or do you want to have that freedom and availability to choose, but there's a lot of uncertainty and there are a lot of emotions that you have to deal with, anxiety, accountability, self-discipline. There's a lot of things that are very difficult, patience, to see if that's really what you want to do is I keep repeating myself, but trade in that sense of security for the freedom and availability. in this book, it also talks about writing down your goals, right? And, you want to say them every morning and every night. And I have one of my goals is I want the freedom to choose how I want to live life every single day. I want to choose how I want to live life every single day. And this is just me being real. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But some people, no matter what, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, it looks the same. And I was doing that too out here in San Francisco. I had a tech sales job. I was selling software. I was doing a pretty good job at it. And I don't know, I just was looking forward to the freedom of the weekend. My 5 days of security, I was looking forward to the 2 days of freedom. Now I'm acting in vices, and things that I really shouldn't, alcohol, gambling. I'm not saying I was addicted to those things, but I was looking forward to the freedom in my life. And I said, why don't I just experience the freedom at all times? Well, now your conscience starts to talk to itself. Well, there are some things that you're going to have to deal with, the uncertainty about money, how your bills are going to be paid, where's the money going to come from? But, then I stop myself right there and I say, well, I choose, another goal that I write down is I choose to live in abundance all the time. And so if I live in abundance and anything I've ever in my life put my mind to, I haven't failed. And I have a support system, friends and family that love me unconditionally. Why do I not take that chance and go swing for the fences? One of my mentors, he lives in Las Vegas. I've talked about him before. The biggest thing that he told me was, at the time, I think I was maybe 24, 25. He was like, you're 24 years old. In my opinion, to you, Jose, I think at 30 is when you really start to understand who it is that you want to be, where you want to go, how you want to live your life. Until then, if I were you, I would swing for the fences and try to hit a home run, build a business, be a business yourself, do something that can help you or be the main culprit as to why you retired at an age like 30. He was like, you could live in somebody's backyard for free, sleep on the ground, have one t-shirt, 2 pairs of pants, and 2 pairs of shoes, and still be just fine. Because by the time you turn 30, a lot of people, they're kind of in the same boat as you. They don't know what they want to do. So if you're not going to know what to do at 30, why not say that you swung for the fences and now you're like maybe coming back to earth in a sense? And so I thought to myself, man, that is a pretty cool idea, Maybe I should just swing for the fences. And this is to say, right, in my life, I have parents, that are both in my life. I have grandparents that are in my life. I have friends that are in my life that, in my head, right, I'm trying to paint a picture for you, and you're probably thinking, well, how do I take this level of freedom, the security? I want freedom. How do I? The first thing you have to understand is set your doomsday scenario. So in my doomsday scenario, let's say right now, I don't even want to say it out loud because I don't like to talk like that. But let's just say that happens. The worst happens. What I would probably do is just go live with my mom, go live with my dad, go live with my grandma, right? Get a tent in the backyard if they don't want me living in the house. And go in and shower and eat my food or whatever and come back out and sleep in the tent. And I promise you, in 6 months, you'd have a job, you'd have the steady income, you'd have all these things that people look for, but you would have, and then you would build that money up, and then by the time that the next year rolls around or whatever, 6-9 months, you'd be able to go get your own place and have a job that you work. That's just the way I think, right? Mind you, I think without limitations. So that's another big concept too, is you have to be able to live and deal with the doubt and anxiety that comes in and still choose to push that to the side and live without limitations. Because truly anything, I swear to you guys, anything is possible. If there's one thing that I want you to take away, is to find what it is that you were put on this planet to do. That should be your biggest motivator before anything else in life, and then do that. And then the second thing is understanding that you have the pure potentiality for anything and everything to exist on this plane. Anything is possible. I've talked about it in other episodes. I don't really want to rehash that, but you have to be able to get that through your head if you want to change your mind from security to freedom. I mean, think about us as little kids. We didn't have a care in the world. And of course, the needs were met by our parents. But who's to say that the life we live later on, our needs can't be met by something we also can't really fathom, which in my opinion is God, is the universe. And right now, you're probably thinking 2 things. One, man, I kind of like what he's saying. This might be something that, I got to dive into, or you're like, man, what is this dude talking about? And either or, I'm okay with both, because it either enriches your beliefs into why you believe what you believe, or it helps me help you create thought-provoking concepts to how you want to now live your life or continue to live your life. So the freedom to choose is so powerful. Even as an entrepreneur, right? I'm self-employed. I work for companies. I do UGC, right? I still have to trade in my time for money. So I'm not too much different than an employee. I still have to, at a certain point, trade my time for money. But the freedom to choose where I want to work, when I want to work, how I want to work, there is freedom in that. As a businessman or as a big-time investor, right? They have the freedom to choose whether or not they want to work, period. They hire people, they hire everybody to do what they need to do for their business. They can leave and go on a vacation for a month and come back, and the business is better than how they found it a month ago. They can truly have the freedom to choose every day. And that's the position that I want to get in too. And so the first book I want to mention to you is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And it basically talks about not working for money, but working to learn, understanding systems of businesses, and figuring out who it is that you want to be versus somebody that has security or freedom. And the second book that he has after that one, I would recommend that one first, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The second one that I got from my best friend's dad, he's a business owner. He told me, yeah, you should definitely read this one. It's called Cash Flow Quadrant. And it talks about where you want to make your money from as either an employee, a self-employed individual, a business owner, or an investor. And you can make money from multiple quadrants, but it basically comes down to time, freedom, and security based on which quadrant you choose to make income from. So those are very, very important books. Another one that I'd really recommend is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Just, it's the book. I'm telling you, so good. So good. And another book that I recommend, because honestly, I thought about it the other day, not a lot of people are going to take my advice on what books to read. They're just going to go and ChatGPT it, or they're going to look up the footnotes. Like, they're not really going to take the time to read these books. You know, they say the best secrets, stick it in a book or keep it in a book somewhere, because people will never find out. The book that I also want to recommend to you, which I rarely say, is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Another book too. So those, I believe, taught me, along with mentors and things of that nature, the level of freedom that I want to have in this life. I'm only here for 80 to 100 years. I feel as though we live in a simulation in the first place. Why would I not choose to have an adventurous, fun, freedom-filled life? And that's not to say by having security you can experience fun and freedom. It's just, which life do you want to choose to live? And that's entirely up to you. I'm not trying to persuade you in one way or the other. I guess my anecdotal experience is on the side of availability and more freedom and adventure and opportunity, but that's just my experience. And when I was on the employee side, I spoke my piece as well. So I think everybody has different opinions on the life that they want to live, and there is a middle ground where you make your the income that you get as an employee, you actually enjoy that job. There's an intrinsic motivation, and it's not even really about the money in the first place. The security is the byproduct of the fun and the freedom and whatever it is that job entails. There is a middle ground for that. So that's my next piece of advice, is that if you do want that security, I would do your best, because we sleep for 8 hours. We have 8 hours off the clock. The 8 hours that you have on the clock, I would try your absolute best, even if it means not making as much money. I would try to have a balance of security and freedom. I'd much rather make a job that doesn't have this ultimate supreme security, but you have the freedom and fun of a job that you genuinely enjoy. I think that's the balance. Because in my eyes, I swear to you, like, I don't know what it is. Sometimes I'll be at, like, I'll watch a movie or a show, and like the boss is telling the person what to do, and I'm just like, man. I tell the person to my right or my left, whoever I'm watching with, I'm like, yo, I can't do that. There's no way I could ever be at a job or do something that I don't want to do ever again. And imagine you being asleep for 8 and then spending another 8 hours somewhere where you don't want to be for the namesake of security. I'll say that again. You sleep for 8 hours a day, and then imagine being somewhere for another 8 hours that you don't enjoy being at for the sake of security. That means you only have 8 hours a day? Do you think God gave you all the gifts and the small probability of you even existing with your mother and father for you to only have 8 hours a day to yourself to express who you truly are, your purpose, your dharma? That doesn't make any sense to me. Imagine doing what you want to do for a third of your life. That like sends chills down my spine. It's crazy. Oh, weekends too. Oh, I get Saturday and Sunday, so technically the math. Whatever, bro. I always think about that in my head, that people want to have the exception to the rule and think about the little things in between. Take what I'm saying and try not to look for the fallacies or the little holes in my arguments and my claims. Use what I say as thought-provoking concepts and things that you can resonate with in your life. And if not, then I don't really take offense to you not agreeing with me. I think I want to give you the freedom to choose. I don't care about who it is that you want to be or where you want to go or what you want to do. I just want to give you things that when you walk away from my show, you're like, you know what? That made me think. I want to discuss this with somebody. I want to find a mentor. I want to talk to my dad or my brother or my friend or my roommate about these things. I want to have these conversations. Because the way the society's built, they force us to cling to security. They force us to worry about things that when we're long gone, nobody's really going to care about. I think time should be spent, as much time as possible, having conversations about inner work and purpose and who it is that we want to be and the things that we want to see change in this world and how we can start with ourselves and traumas that we've experienced in our life or triggers or things that don't allow us to be in the fully conscious present moment. No longer worrying about the past or the future, but being able to exist here and now as often as we choose. Security versus freedom. There's a balance of both. You can definitely have both. But I chose for a couple of years to have zero security and maximum freedom. And was that stressful? Oh man, I couldn't begin to tell you. But I had to create the building blocks of entrepreneurship to become where I am right now. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be in terms of financial freedom, my ultimate goal, getting paid to be me. But I'm definitely on my way. And the things that I've learned are stuff that I could take forever on. And when I'm an old man and I sit back and I got my great grandkids and my eyes are open, I'm going to go, I did what I wanted to do. I traveled, I lived life, I got paid to be what it was that I felt like I'm really good at, my purpose, and it felt really good. And I have no regrets. I feel that right now. And I'm forever thankful for that the right mentors or the people or whoever, God, the universe, showed me something that I felt like I really wanted to partake in terms of my purpose. Like I said, we're only on this planet for 80 to 100 years, bro. I want to spend it doing what I want to do. Once you realize how long the universe has existed and how long the earth has been around and how long humans have been around, it's like, man, why do I want to adhere to society's norms? Why would I care about that? Why would I not choose in every single moment of my life to be who I want to be? Is it because I'm afraid of failure? Am I afraid of perception of others? Am I afraid of perception of self? It has to be one of those things. Why am I willing to adhere to society's rules and norms when no one's going to remember me 500 years from now, 300 years from now? And because of these norms, I only get to experience my life 1/3 of the time? Looking forward to Saturdays and Sundays? I'm sorry. I don't mean to bother people or hurt their feelings, or he's saying I should not get a job and be some broke homeless bum, blah blah blah. Like, And it's a tricky subject to talk about because not a lot of people want to talk about their finances or how they really feel or if they're truly free. Or that's why, it's hard for me. Like when I talk to people, it's funny. I don't really like the little, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, how's it? I'm the type of person where I'm like kind of quiet when when everybody gets together. I'm like, yo, what's good? How you been? Good. Okay, boom. Like, boom. And then like I get kind of quiet. And then once we start to talk about the deep stuff, I come out of nowhere and I'm like, okay. Like what? Like what's up? Like, all right, boom. Or what is your purpose? Is it what is it that you want to do? 5 years from now, who do you want to be, or what's your true purpose? Is this job something that you really think you want to do for the rest of your life? Like, what is it that you want to do? Why don't you push for that? Well, if you couldn't fail, what would you do? If money were no option, what would you do? And then naturally, people end up opening up to me, and it's a cool conversation. I don't know, man. It's just time is so short. Why not spend it doing what you want to do? So, with that being said, I want to do a guided meditation. So if you guys can find somewhere on the ground, somewhere on your bed, anywhere that feels comfortable, even if you're listening to me in nature, go find a tree, just set me down and just listen to what I have to say. Say crisscross applesauce, and what I want you to do is close your eyes, and we're going to take 3 deep breaths. So, in and out. In and out. In and out. And what I want you to do is just visualize the life you've always wanted to live. And all of the senses that come with it, sight, smell, sound, taste, touch, walk through your day, figure out how it is that you make all this money, what's your purpose. I'm going to give you some time just to think about that. The feelings that you evoke from this purpose-driven life, this Dharma, the life you've always wanted to live, the feelings that come with that. Really take a look inside and feel, man, how does this make me feel? And I want you to ask yourself, what's stopping you from living that life right now? I think you find a lot of answers there as to who you need to be in order to reach that visualization. And keep your eyes closed. My advice to you is let go of any and all limitations that life you're visualizing can and will be a reality. And the next thing I do after you really train your mind to think without limitations is find your purpose, create a plan, tell God about it, and then execute. Think and Grow Rich talks about creating a chief definite aim, a purpose, a dharma, a burning desire. You know what burning means? Burning desire and unwavering faith, and the physical equivalent will become inevitable. And if this doesn't make any sense and it sounds like I'm talking crazy, understand that God's will, the pure potentiality of what can and will happen in this life, is unfathomable. You haven't met everybody. You haven't seen every opportunity. You haven't seen anything in this world compared to somebody like God, the creator of our world, his understanding of people that can come into your life, opportunities, anything. He has a way better understanding. So why would I begin to worry and have control in those things? I would just simply ask to give opportunities to reach your purpose, and express gratitude, and be who you always wanted to be, the visualization in your head. All right, you can open your eyes now. I feel like I don't give enough time for people to truly meditate. I keep yapping, so I'm really trying to just be quiet and allow you to think, because it is a guided meditation. It's not a guided listen to me speak because you just heard me speak for 30 minutes. But I appreciate you guys nonetheless, and this is something that's so much fun. Although I'm not getting that many views on the videos. First off, this page has millions of subscribers, hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views per video. I'm not worried at all. It's in due time, or it's already existing here and now. The views that I do get, the view duration is up. So a lot of you are actually watching the full totality of the video. So I appreciate you for that. That's awesome. And the email is open. You guys can comment anything that you feel. So there's some comments, and that's awesome. I'm not telling you have to, but those are I really appreciate those, because it just tells me where I stand. And it's just a phone. I don't really know how people are what their takeaway is from this. So I don't know. I'm kind of just doing this, and I feel like God is giving me this purpose to give this out to you guys, give you thought-provoking concepts and things you can resonate with in your own life. So life is good. Life is truly, truly good. I promise you. Get out in some nature, exercise, give thanks, tell somebody you love them. How can I be of service to others using my purpose, what God gave me to do on this planet? All right. I'll see you guys next time.